All right, Landin Chambers with Hometown Productions and Media here. I'm here with new Stettler Mayor-elect Gord Lawlor. First off, how's it going, Gord?
It's going really well. I'm a lot more relaxed than I was last week, but it's an opportunity for me to spend the next 4 years growing and moving forward with our community. But I also recognize that, with the vote split that was there, Dean had some very, very positive things that he was bringing to the table. And my ears are wide open to listen to people and hear what everyone has to say, not just my views.
So I guess tell me a little bit about your first term. That would have been 2017 to 2021 as a councillor there. Tell me what you learned in that first term.
Year 1, learning curve. Year 2, learning curve. Year 3 and 4, it started to balance off to the stage where I understood the budget numbers and I understood the agreements that we had with our county partners, and I was beginning to get it. Then the term was over. So I ran for 2021 because I had so many things going on that I still wanted to finish.
I guess you really get to an idea of just how the town works when you're sitting on all these committees and like you said, starting to get your feet wet and understanding how this all works, right? So.
Very much so. I would say it was probably term 2. I sat on the library board and the regional library board and union negotiating committee. All of the committees I'm on, I've sat on for all 8 years. And there's a perspective of change it up, change your people on different committees, which is good. It brings fresh blood to different committees. But having an intimate understanding of them is huge. And so I became literally the library guy to Municipal Affairs Minister Rick McIver before he got to wear the funny hat as Speaker of the House. And that's turned into a resolution that I'll be taking to the floor of the Alberta municipalities of predictable, stable, increased library funding for the province. And that resolution will be seconded by the City of Calgary because the CEO of Calgary Public Libraries reached out to Regional and said, I understand library guys on your board. Mission accomplished.
It's really about that advocacy and trying something I'm sure you've heard from the libraries that they just want stable funding year to year.
Absolutely. There's probably about 30% of libraries in the province that work on deficit funding. And there's different perspectives. Like our council has been always very, very supportive, as has our county council, of library funding. It's always sometimes hard to find the money. There's no question. But the reality of it is we recognize the importance of the library for everyone in our community, including the most vulnerable. It's a safe place to be and a very accepting place to be. But the libraries in general are a lifeline. Every community's got one. If we, God forbid, ever experience another COVID, if the province has to do a mass distribution of PPE or vaccinations, libraries, go to the 8 regional library systems and they'll distribute out to the individual libraries, to villages and hamlets.
It really is quite the system there. So last term, council saw some emerging issues such as the doctor shortage. Could you just talk about how this was dealt with and the role of council in this?
Sure. It was very much an issue that we had a lot of, I don't want to say pushback from AHS, but it was a cooperation factor. You need to go out and research and find and advocate and acquire doctors. How do you do that? You just don't Google it. I have to give Dean Lovell, Terry Chesla, and the team that they put together for Stettler Needs Doctors, raising awareness. There's a Stettler Needs Doctor sign still on Highway 56, and every time I drive by it, raising awareness. County Council and Town Council got together for a couple of joint meetings on what to do, how to do it. Do we hire a consultant? How do we functionally communicate with AHS, the College of Physicians and Surgeons, all of the various different facets of that to accomplish this task? Ultimately, the collaboration of Stettler Needs Doctors Committee, the Health Professionals Attraction Retention Committee, and County and Town Council being funding partners as well, that's what made it happen. 4% of the 6% tax increase in town last year was doctor incentive related. And that's unfortunately a reality, but that's already now budgeted. So there's not going to be new spends for doctors in that circumstance with healthcare providers that is going to affect taxes.
So that was a really good example of the town and county working together over the last year. But like any partnership, there's going to be some issues, and we have seen some issues concerning the fire department. We have the county now separating, starting the Heartland Regional Fire Commission. I guess just tell me about the timeline, how we got here on this issue.
This one's a tricky one because there's there's a he said, she said. I want to simplify it because I like to try to keep things at a basis that I can fully understand them. It's a divorce. It's a divorce that was not inevitable, but it ultimately came to a divorce. And then the well-meaning friends and the lawyers got involved, or that in that divorce environment, and then just things got rough. Our needs for the town, the county's needs for the county, are different. We deal with structure fires that are 2.5 to 4 hours long. We have a level 3 pressurized water system and the apparatus to operate that system. So it helps us with our house insurance. House insurance in the sense of fire. When I was talking with some county residents, what do you pay for fire insurance? Holy man, but they're 15, 20, 30 kilometers away from a fire hall. That affects their fire insurance. So the split, I don't want to say it was necessary, but it's become something that's happened. December 31st is going to be the official date where we are separate fire departments, but the county's apparatus that they own has been, and they need for grass fires, that type of thing, has been moved to the new Heartland Fire Commission's facility. And that's, now we're working on inventory. We're working on assets, joint assets we bought, assets they bought, apparatus. We're working on the details. That's that we're finalizing all of that. And it's a matter of basically who gets the house, who gets the dog, who gets the car.
Okay. I guess tell us, moving on, what are your top priorities for this term? And what did you hear from voters over the last month?
Top priorities I'll get to. What did I hear from the voters? I heard from the voters questions about fire. A lot of questions about fire. And that's hard because that's become a topic that's overrun the election. And that's okay. The election is done. Let's move forward. I heard about housing. We have like a 0.5% vacancy rate for rental properties. We need to get purpose-built rental properties in our community. Ironically, I was having a conversation with a fellow who's a bit of a developer in my business here a little earlier. That's why I got here so late. And he had some really interesting perspectives. And I'm a brand new mayor-elect. Like, I'm not pretending like I know all this stuff about all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But my learning curve now is this again. And he and I talked a great length about, okay, well, yeah, 2 duplexes, that's a great idea. I know the property. It's a nice sized property. Well, what about 2 fourplexes? And then we started talking about fire, response times, the distance for the property line, how close houses can be to each other based on fire response and that type of thing. Okay, I have some questions. What has been our response rate, say in the last 2 years or 4 years? What's been the timeline? Does it impact what he could build in that property? In the sense of, what if we did this or did this, and there was a purchaser who would want to operate that rental property? Now can we maybe talk about 8 units? Oh, it was a spitball conversation that may go nowhere. It may turn into 8 units.
And it's interesting how you kind of take a step back and you see how all these issues kind of affect each other, right? So
every cog has a number of teeth in the cog, and they all have to come together and smoothly. If one gets bent, they can throw a kink into it. Going back to our relationship with the county, Wayne Nixon, Dick Richards, historically, brought the fractured relationship to really a beautiful place. My first term on council, Dick had retired, Sean became our mayor, but that relationship was very solid. We had that mutual desire. I have spoken with county councillors and our previous reeve, current reeve, future reeve, not sure, about communication, collaboration, relationship. All 3, and not necessarily in that order, are huge right now for us to get ourselves back into where we should be as siblings who share the same space, but respect each other's space. Respect that we're different. We have a binder this thick of multiple agreements that the county and town have, that all, the library, the museum, the airport, there's so many of them in there that they work well.
Yeah, there really has to be collaboration between you two with how much you two have to look after. Like you said, the airport, the water systems, you name it, right?
Yep.
So we touched a little bit on the housing builds. That developers incentive was brought to council in recent weeks. Is that something you would look to expand in the next 4 years?
You know, we were in a position that the MGA, the Municipal Government Act, the province changed the rules, if that's the way to put it, that we could provide property tax incentives, meaning delayed property tax for developers. Somebody building purpose-built rental property. They build an apartment building. They build a duplex, a fourplex. They build something with the intention of it being rented to help our rental housing shortage, and their property taxes are delayed. So the town, you know, I guess you could take one sense, the town loses money on property tax not coming in. The town gets bills. The town's income from the property taxes step back or delayed. But it builds a property that we will get property tax on, where there was nothing on that property to begin with. So I really back that up. I would like to see us look at all different ideas. Think outside the box. Look at different communities. Drumheller apparently has a number of houses being built. Let's find out. Let's ask them. How come? Why? Help me understand. What do you do that's different than we do? And that's where our doctor's circumstance came in. Many communities were checked out, finding out what different ones did. And like always, a made in Stettler solution.
I really think that's what we're going to see in the coming years, especially with both the provincial and federal government in recessionary or budget cutting modes, that we're going to need to see more regional and local collaboration, partnerships between your Camroses, your Drumhellers, and creating these economic corridors. So
I think it's important to a combination of think outside the box and look beyond. We're very similar in size to Ponoka. We're very similar in size to, I think maybe, I'm not sure, Innisfil is probably a little larger, but there's so many different communities of our size. Rocky Mountain House, for example. I've become friendly with the mayor-elect, I believe mayor now, of Rocky Mountain House. We share the same hairline. We have matching hearing aids. We're just two people that really find each other amusing. But I've learned so much from what they do that's different from what we do with the same problem. Mm-hmm. Let's learn from each other. How are you fixing the brakes in your car as opposed to how they fix the brakes in their car? Which is the best way for me to fix the brakes on my car?
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for sitting down with us today. Is there anything else you just wanted to say before
I want to say thank you. I'm really proud of what you've accomplished here, you and Alex, with this business, this media. Our town needs it. Our town needs the information, and they need to be hearing from different parts of the community, not just council, but definitely council.
No, at the end of the day, you make decisions that affect all of us. So.
And ourselves. One of the things that I think I want to remind our constituents is, if we make a property tax decision, we make it very carefully. We approach it from many different ways. We debate the daylights out of some things. So I've heard a negative comment about our unanimous votes. Well, we come out of the room as friends, but we come out of the room with an answer. And anything that we do with property tax affects us as well.
All right. Well, thanks for this, Gord.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Best of luck.